I remember coming across someone and we got talking, and I asked, what about this? Have you discussed this with your husband or your soon-to-be husband? And the response was what initiated my will to do this video. Now, there is no such thing as a hard conversation between you and your spouse. There is no such thing as saying, I don't know this about this person, or we haven't talked about this, or I don't get to know this. I don't know if you understand. You want to get married to someone, or you're already married to your husband or your wife, and there are some gray areas that you're not sure of. There are some subject matters that when you get there, it seems you're on your own, and you're not clear. You don't know your stand, or you don't know your spouse's stand. These things are not supposed to be. There's actually literally no conversation that you would not be able to have with your spouse, because you people, this person is supposed to be your right or die lover. This person is supposed to be your partner in good or in bad or in the messy. And that's what I'll be talking about in this video today. Thank you for clicking on it. If you are just seeing this video for the first time or coming across the channel for the first time, thank you for clicking on it. My name is Mabel, and here we discuss about marriage, about real life experiences in marriage, in relationships and family. It's a sunny day today. I'm just coming back from church and I felt, let me drop this here, and I hope it's something that we can talk about. So as I'm going on in this video talking about this, I will appreciate it if you can put on the comment what are those, or what are some of those hard conversations that you have discovered that is difficult for couples to talk about, and then we can learn from each other. So one big conversation that I found out is very hard, it's a tough one for couples to talk about, is the subject of money. Money is emotional. Money is not just numbers. Money is security. Money is freedom. Money is life. It's about your dreams. It brings fears. It's a whole lot. Shying away from money will not take it away. Not talking about money in your marriage will not just fizzle into the time and the seasons. It will always come around. I remember when we first got married, we had some tough years at those early years of our marriage, and I saw firsthand what the lack or abundance of money can do in a relationship, especially if you do not talk about it. Money is a whole lot. It brings out the best or the worst in you. It all depends on how you approach it. My advice would be to talk about this thing. Approach it not as one person, not as a man or not as a woman, but approach it as a team, because mindset shift is all that matters. It changes a whole lot of things. If you are yet to get married, it will be a good time for you to ask, what are my expectations from you financially as the husband or as the wife? Talk about these things, not in an effort to say who am I to blame or something. It just helps you both to know who is better at this. You'd be able to understand which of you is better at saving money, which of you is better at spending money. And it's always good to rely on your spouse in their area of strength. Like in our marriage, my husband is more of a saver than I am, and when it comes to our family finances, I leaned into his strength in that area, and there are other areas I'm better at, and that's why you're two, because two of you are not supposed to fall. If one person is falling, the other person raises the other person up. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. That's your advantage of being a duo, of being a couple, of being a team. It means that when you're falling, you're not falling alone. The other person is helping you stand. It's always advisable for you to lean to your spouse in their area of strength. And if this is your area of strength, be open to be the person that will lead or that will share that aspect. If you are the person that is almost always spot on in the area of health and everything in your marriage, get on it, thrive in it, be the one to look out, because naturally, since that is your area, you're more inclined to see dangers ahead. you are more inclined to be mindful in those areas that would help your family or help your relationship benefit in the long run. Another area that's hard for couples to talk about is not telling them themselves or not telling themselves how they feel. Something like telling your spouse, I don't feel loved lately. It's about talking about those hard truths. I know it feels personal, but this is your spouse. If you don't feel loved, if you have discovered that if you're the person that don't feel loved, sometimes it's difficult for you to say. And if you're the spouse that is being, accused, or you're the spouse that your wife is telling you you don't feel loved, it's hard to take it. If your spouse meets you and say, oh, I don't feel loved, or really comes to you and they are complaining about not getting the best of you or getting best of your time or getting a lot of your attention, don't be defensive, because the first thing is actually to be defensive. Unconsciously you would want to be defensive. I remember telling my husband of the time you said, oh, I don't have, or whatever you're complaining about, I'm actually doing it for the family, or there's always a way for you to defend it. And possibly you're actually doing what will benefit both of you. But the crux of the matter right there and then is that this person is not having the best of you at that time. Don't be defensive. Get curious. Ask, what's making you feel that way? Sometimes it's just a communication glitch. Sometimes you just need to reassure that person. And sometimes the person your spouse do not even have the details of what you're doing that is making them not to feel loved at that given time. It could be just stress. It could be lack of quality time that you're not giving to them. It could be that you're not really expressing their love languages at its fullest to them. It's an opportunity for you to go back and to now be more conscious to say, my spouse is not feeling me at this time. My spouse is not getting the best of me. He or she is not getting my attention. How am I going to go about this? The goal of this is not for you to win. The goal of this is not for one person to be right. The goal of this should be for you to reconnect with each other. Now, another hard conversation I've discovered that couples find it difficult or somehow overlook to talk about is in the area of procreation. Is the question, are we ready for kids? Someone actually feels that, oh, this is not a conversation to have. I've seen people not really talking about how many kids they want to have, not actually checking with their spouse if they are ready. Remember the question we're talking about. Are we ready for kids? Or do we even want them? Or when are we ready? This is a salient question every couple should ask themselves before they get married. Why they are married? Because plans can change. I know that plans can change. Times are changing. It's possible that before you got married, you really wanted to have 3, 4, 5 kids. But right now, with the condition that you are, with the given circumstance you are, that might not be feasible, or you want to wait. I think you should actually check your spouse to be sure, are they ready for another child? Or are they ready to start having children? I know that things happen, that they can come when, you've not planned. But given natural circumstances of you planning, of you knowing that 2 of you are coming to do this as a team, it is not out of question or it is not out of practice to ask your wife, are we ready for another child? I'm not assuming that she's ready. I've seen that sometimes the women are ready and the man is saying, I'm not ready, and they can't understand it. I know that the woman carried the pregnancy and everything, but the truth is that the man needs to also be ready to be a father. The man needs to also be emotionally, mentally ready for another additional child or for a new child. As much as it takes you to be ready to carry a pregnancy, woman, your husband also needs to be ready mentally, emotionally to father another child. This is a hard conversation. Let me hear from you in the comments. We're not supposed to be having this conversation in the first place, but I think we as married people, couples, and even soon to be people that are planning to get married should actually sit down and say, what's our family goal? How many children do we plan to have? And come to an understanding to say, these are the children we like to have. This is the spacing. There is nothing like, oh, when it comes, it comes. It's a lot of emotions, it's a lot of mental strength to put into raising children. The fact that you're married does not mean the person is ready to have kids. So this is a tough, honest question. You need to be really honest about it. You need to be patient. You need to respect the feelings of your partner to say, are we ready? Because you have personal differences, we have different perspectives, but what is not okay is avoiding the topic or just expecting that, oh, it's just going to be fine. You need to talk about this. Last one I'll talk about is the I need to tell you something. It's about confessing, about talking about mistakes or very hard truths in marriage. Sometimes things happen, possibly in the past or even in the present, and it's difficult to talk about it. But you need to talk about this conversation. There are conversations that we need to have. I think preparing ahead really helps. If you're not yet married, you might want to talk to your soon-to-be husband or wife and say, how do we talk about this? What's the level of our secrecy? How would you want me to talk about these tough things? And then have an opening to say, how would you accept this? How would I accept this? How we made it work, or how we are making it work, myself and my husband, was that before we got married, we said, what is it that you can't tell me? What is it that I can't tell you? There is nothing, right? How do I tell you this? It makes it open that somehow we know that even the worst of things we'll tell ourselves. It might take time, but it's having that opening to say, however you get to mess up, no matter the shit you get yourself into, no matter the toughness or no matter how life goes with you when I'm not there, I will be open, I'll be ready to hear you out, and I'll still be ready with an open arms to hear you and forgive you, even though you might give me time. To the person who has done wrong or made a mistake in the past, or even in the course of marriage, I would say you confess with humility. Confessing not just to say, oh, I know you're going to forgive me, or because you don't have a choice than to forgive me, but there's a difference when you confess in humility. Even your spouse will know that this is a mistake. You are humble about it. And to the person who is being told about this hard truth, is being you that your spouse is opening up to, take a deep breath before reacting and put yourself in a person's shoe. If I'm the one that has messed up in this way, if I am the one in this condition as my spouse, how would I love my spouse to react? How would I love to be treated after a mistake? How would I love to be responded to? What kind of treatment would I say I deserve from my spouse after such a horrible thing? Or after confessing such a hard truth? Or after talking about this mistake? How would I love my spouse to take me back? Put yourself in the shoes, because life goes in either ways. I hope this video has been helpful. Let me hear from you. What are some of those what are some of those hard conversations that you've discovered that couples have found it challenging to talk about, but they should talk about? Or what are some of those hard conversations that has been difficult for you to talk about with your spouse? Either way, I want to hear from you. Please put it on the comments. It's always a joy to read from you, and I appreciate every single one of your comments. It's a whole boost to say, I'm not talking about this alone. It's a whole boost to say, whatever I'm talking about here is valid. Let me hear from you, please. If you've watched this video, I'll be hoping to read from you on the comments. And while you're doing that, watch this next video, and I'll see you right there.